This is Punam Singhal, the principal of the Paras World School. Just a brief introduction about myself. I started my career as a teacher way back in 1982. Took a sabbatical for a bit after I got married and had my baby, but have been working continuously since 1987. So per se, I have actually almost 35 to 36 years of teaching experience. And this experience has been a wonderful journey, a wonderful experience of having taught children, then going on to the role of a coordinator, to the vice principal, and to the principal. So basically, I have worn all hats in my journey as a teacher and have also discovered what the National Curriculum Framework was to what the NEP is. So I'm just going to unfold what the new education policy is all about. The new education policy actually talks about making sure that children hone skills, that there is a higher order thinking in their minds, that they learn to critique, to critically think, to problem solve, to having soft skills. It is actually a 60-page document, and I have just collated the key principles of the NEP, which I'm going to take you through. And what I want to share with you also is the fact that NEP has come into existence only now, which came in existence in June. But at the Paras World School, we have been following the principles of the NEP ever since its inception. So without ado, I'll take you through this journey of how the Paras World School is actually incorporating the national education policy in our day-to-day learning. So welcome, dear parents, and if you have any questions at the end of my session, I'll be more than happy to. Punam, can we have the next slide, please? So one of the key principles of NEP is respect for diversity and local context. I think respect for diversity also helps children to understand that India is a multicultural, multi-heritage country. And therefore, we make sure that we celebrate with fervor each and every festival. You can see here that we have children celebrating Christmas, we have children celebrating Gurpur, we have children celebrating Eid, we have children celebrating Dashera. And one of the unique features that we have incorporated is the langar, which is actually seva. You know, teach children very, very young about what seva is all about. You can see here in this picture where children are, you can see that you have children serving. So children are serving children, and you can see that we also have our housekeeping staff and our class 4 employees all sitting and having their meal together. The reason why I want to incorporate this is that in the eyes of God, everybody is equal, and that it is not something that, the children need to celebrate this and make sure that even the housekeeping staff is given due respect. And this is one day where, you know, even they feel empowered. They also feel happy about the fact that they are given due respect. On my right, you can see that children of early years are actually celebrating Diwali. So the key principle of NEP being respect for diversity in local context in all curriculum, pedagogy, and policy is something that we have been following and we will continue to follow. So, I mean, this year, we had thought that we will celebrate Buddhism, we'll celebrate Jainism, we'll celebrate Zoroastrianism, all of this. However, due to the pandemic, we've been able to have only virtual celebrations as far as this is concerned. Can I have the next slide, Poonam? So the next slide actually will talk about equity and inclusion. When we say equity, equality versus equity, we have children, we make sure that we have children with special needs, and we sensitize our children to make sure that they are part and parcel of the same classroom. It's giving opportunities to everyone. It starts from very young. We have our children, and it is so beautiful to see that children help out children with special needs as far as their homework is concerned, or learning concepts is concerned, or making sure that they are doing something that they are good at. We've seen that children with special needs are exceptionally talented where music and art is concerned, and we make sure that they are given they are the forerunners as far as these two programs are concerned. We have pictures of in the next slide where you can see on the left, we have one child who's assisting the other child as far as his learning is concerned. And we can see here also that, children are made to take part in various cultural activities. You can see them dressing up the Christmas tree here. So they have never felt left out. They are part and parcel of the school. And because we have children with various needs, it has helped sensitizing and making our children more humane. The next is use of technology. We have been using technology for a long time. Even before the pandemic, Khan Academy and Kahoot was a part of our curriculum. Now, when we talk of Khan Academy is a platform where children can do a lot of self-learning. And our teachers have integrated Khan Academy into their curriculum on a day-to-day basis. So I was talking about Khan Academy. Say, for example, a child in grade 3 is doing some kind of an assessment on Khan Academy for, say, math. Now, every child has got their own learning curve, and Khan Academy, through the AI, is able to assess whether the child is at that level or not. Without the child knowing, they bring it down to a level lower or another level lower, so that the child starts feeling confident that, yes, I can do it. Similarly, if children are above the normal or above average, they are given assignments and assessments which take them on a graph or on a level higher. Similarly, as far as Kahoot is concerned, we've always believed that rote learning is not something that we promote, and Kahoot helps us in making sure that our children are learning for learning, and it is continuous. So while the pandemic was on, our teachers have got excessive training as far as exam.net is concerned, Edpuzzle is concerned, Microsoft is concerned, Paddle is concerned. This is just a few of the technology tools that are being used. Exam.net is being used very well as far as assessing our children for their periodic tests as well as for their half-yearly exams. The next picture will actually take you through and show you that we have incorporated technology. You can see the teacher helping out the children to make sure that they're learning as far as what I just mentioned earlier, as far as Kahoot or as far as Khan Academy is concerned, is actually incorporated. Can we have the next slide, Punam? So I had just mentioned it to you that we believe in conceptual learning rather than rote learning, and our concepts are, our teachers have emphasized on continuously assessing them so that we know for sure that the children are able to understand. Children of, when a certain topic or certain concept has been taught, there are various ways in which you can assess that real learning has happened, for which we take formative assessments, which is learning of learning. And these formative assessments could be in the form of a quiz, could be in the form of maybe a role play, could be in the form of some kind of research work, just to gauge and just to understand that learning is actually happening. This continuous emphasis on assessment is also documented so that the teacher gets to know the learning curve of each and every child. Learning is never isolated. It is always integrated. For example, EVS is not taught in isolation. It is taught along with the concepts in English or in mathematics. Let's take, for example, let's take the concept of water. For grade, water is something that is taught right from grade 1 up to grade 10. So what are the concepts that you are learning in water? You're learning about the sources of water. You're learning about the contamination of water. You're learning about wastage of water. You're talking about conservation of water. And our grade 2 children were made to actually assess and see how much water is being wasted in each and every household. So they were writing a paragraph on water, which was in English. And then they were also measuring the quantity of water that was wasted or that was saved. So the integration of math, English, and EVS, and then the whole concept came alive in the form of a drawing, which they displayed in the classroom. So this is one of the methodologies in which our children learn. And as I said, emphasizing conceptual learning is one of the key principles of NEP, which is already being incorporated into our classrooms on an everyday basis. So more emphasis on formative assessment than summative assessment, which makes the children more confident about their own learning. Can I have the next slide, Punam? Yeah. So while assessments are happening, teachers also understand that the learning is at a different level for each child. They are all at a different curve. So we take the basic, you know, when a child comes into the class, a base test is taken so that we know that this is where the child is in terms of the average of the class is concerned. There may be some children who are not yet there, and there may be some children who are beyond the class. So the teachers make sure that the assignments that are delivered to the child or the child is made to do are at various levels. It takes a lot of effort for the teacher also to assign these kind of differentiated learning worksheets, which are done. Now, see, I also want to understand, I would also like to talk about worksheets being something which is abstract. Learning that happens in class is more concrete. Worksheets are abstract, and helping the children to understand how to attempt the worksheet is something that is deliberately done or diligently done while the teacher is imparting knowledge in the classroom. So when we have different kinds of worksheets that are sent to the children are confident, you know, that this is not beyond me to do. They are confident that I can do it. And when they're able to come up to that level, a higher level is given to the children, and then the higher level, so that at the end of the year, whatever is the average or whatever is the normal is attained. Of course, we do have exceptionally gifted children who are encouraged to go beyond what is done in the class by giving them certain leadership roles in terms of doing research work or taking certain concepts forward. Flipped classroom is one of the ways in which we make sure that, you know, learning can be done at home, and you have the Q&A sessions. I wish I had more photographs and pictures to show you how we are able to incorporate all of these in our online classes itself. So unique capabilities are, as I said, is one of the key principles of NEP, which the Paris World School is already incorporating in their regular classroom teaching and learning. Next slide, please, Punam. So critical thinking and creativity. What do we understand by critical thinking? What is critical thinking? It's a very cliched term, you know, everybody talks about critical thinking. For me, when we discuss it amongst our teachers, critical thinking is allowing the children to question. For example, if I say the sky is blue, all right, the teacher says, or the child said, look out of the classroom and see what is the color of the sky. The sky is blue in color. Now the question is, why is it blue in color? Why is it not in any other color? Why does the sky look orange in the evening? Why does it look pale blue in the afternoon? Now these are all techniques for critical thinking, which is encouraged in our school. We make sure that whatever, when we talk of collaboration, learning can never ever been done in isolation. Gone are the days when we had classrooms that were in rows and people sat one behind the other, and all that you could look at was the back of the head of the person sitting in front of you. Today, our classrooms are cluster classrooms where children sit in small clusters and they work together. When they work together, there are certain soft skills that they acquire. They acquire empathy, they acquire teamwork, they acquire awareness, cultural awareness. They are able to help each other, and so many skills. So many skills are developed in that one class where we learn to work together. Uh, Inquiry-based learning is one of the bases of our learning, which I will share with you when we come to the last slide about iStream. When we talk of inquiry, children are made to inquire. For example, in early years, if they're taught about germination, children are made to bring a seed from home, and they're put into a little wet cotton to see how the shoots come out, how the roots come out, and then how the stem comes up, how the leaves come up. And it's a very fascinating journey which they document on a day-to-day basis. So on first day, they see it's a seed. Then later they see that the root has come out, then the shoot has come out, then the stem has come out. And in the process, a lot of learning happens through hands-on activity. And also there is a lot of excitement. There is a lot of, they are actually excited about coming to school and learning these concepts. Striving to learn better, reflection. Have I done it okay? Do I need to do something more? They have a reflection sheet where they self-assess themselves and say, how have I learned at the end of the day? Next slide, please. Okay, so we make sure that we have diagnostic sheets. I'm sorry, I would have loved to show a graph here, how we diagnose a child, how we diagnose children as far as the learning is concerned. A graph is maintained not only individually, but also subject-wise, so that we know where is the child, whether the class as a whole has an issue related to maths or English, or individually, where is the child improving herself or himself, and where is it that the child needs more assistance. So with continuous review, as I said, NEP talks about continuous review. We are actually incorporating our diagnosis of the child's learning in our school on an everyday basis. So this helps in continuous improvement of the students' learning. It helps us to actually handhold the parent and tell the parent that if the child is encouraged to do this, the child will be able to learn better. For example, reading is a very important skill that children need to learn. And in the English language class, children are made to do three readings, I'm sorry. In the first reading, it's just skimming through the whole thing. In the second reading, they actually learn to understand the meaning of what is being said. And by the time they come to the third reading of that particular lesson or that particular chapter, they've already internalized it. So all this kind of learning just helps in making sure that the learning graph of our children is on a higher end. Next slide, please, Punam. So transforming curricular and pedagogical structure. I would be very happy to share with you that what the NEP is sharing is that you have 5 years of early years plus lower primary, 3 years of primary, 3 years of middle school, and 4 years of senior secondary school. Most schools have 2 years or 3 years of primary, then 2 to 3 years of early years, 5 years of primary, 3 years of middle school, and then 4 years of senior secondary. But in our school, we have incorporated it where we have 5 years. We have got coordinators at every level: early years coordinator, lower primary coordinator, upper primary and middle school coordinator, and then the senior school coordinator, so that we are able to gauge at every level that the teachers as well as the students are learning well and identifying wherever the gaps are to make sure that those can be rectified immediately. So again, I'm only trying to reiterate the fact that this document, which has come out from the government, which is the National Education Policy, has already been incorporated in our school right from the start. So just sharing, unfolding, as I said, the topic is unfolding NEP, and just wanted to share our thoughts as far as this is concerned. Can I have the next slide, Punam? So, right in the beginning, I had mentioned it to you that our pedagogy is based on iStream. I stream is inquiry. So when we talk about inquiry, we make sure that the children actually research and inquire about their learning. We have never hesitated, or we have never stopped our children from actually asking questions. They inquire into it. For example, life of a butterfly, from the time it's a cocoon to the time it becomes a butterfly, this entire journey is done through inquiry, which is documented. Developing skills, I've just talked about the skills of the 21st century. Sounds cliche, but it's actually being done, where we talk about critical thinking, or we talk about collaboration, or we talk about creativity, or we talk about soft skills, or we talk about any other skill that needs to be developed, which will help our children to understand the world that they are going to be facing tomorrow. We are aware of the fact that what job opportunities are going to be available to our children in years to come is something which is unknown. But we can develop this by actually making sure that our children hone skills of communication well. We have seen that in our own times when we were in school, that children who stood first in class probably never uttered a word. They may be great bookworms, but they were not street smart. They did not have the skills to communicate. But if we encourage the skill of communication right from the start, the child has developed the habit of actually expressing his or her own self. So developing skills for the 21st century, integration of technology, I spoke about it a little while ago. The Reggio Emilia approach is where the child is allowed to explore nature. We've always talked about the environment being the third teacher. So the children are allowed to go out, see the various colors of the leaves of the various trees, try and collect certain pebbles, stones, feathers, etc. Come into the class and actually wait. So concepts of mathematics gets clearer to them. By what we mean by making learning visible is that whatever the children are learning can actually be expressed in real life when they come in contact with society. I'll give you a very simple example. We've been teaching children not to litter. Right now, this is something that, okay, fine. So you've taught a child how that littering is not okay. But the reiteration of this fact comes when the mother comes and tells me that, I took my child to the park and there was a box of fruity lying strewn somewhere in the park. And he said that I have to put this into the dustbin. And when she said, but this is not something that you have strewn. And immediately he said, well, my teacher said that the park belongs to all of us and I need to dump it into the dustbin. That is making learning visible. So we feel proud about the fact that whatever is being taught in the classroom is actually coming to life at home too. Multiple intelligence. This is children learn through various ways. They could be tactile learners. They could be musical learners. They could be auditory learners. They could be learning through painting. They could be learning through various other means. All this is something which is encouraged as far as our school is concerned.